we go. I see her. All right. Just sent out the invite. Let's see if we can get her on. Yay! Wow!
Hi.
I have to tell you, that was the fastest connection I've ever had.
I was ready.
You rocked it. Thanks, girl.
You're welcome. Thank
How are you doing
you.
today?
I'm well. How about you?
Oh, doing well. It's nice and
Good.
sunny. Let me get this camera. I think
I know.
it's working good. You look
Yeah,
good as always.
Thank you. Same.
Nice. So everybody, again, welcome to Saturday Shares. I'm Rena. This is my friend Heather, another hockey mom. Woo woo.
Good morning.
And again, a similar situation to Lindsay last week in that we just happened to be talking about my book, and you just dropped in that you are part of this club as well. And
Yes.
you offered to come on here and share your story with us, and I'm so glad you're here for it.
Thank you.
So as I tell everyone, Heather, this is completely led by you, whatever you are comfortable with. Just start from the beginning. Tell us your journey, what you experienced, the highs, the lows, everything you're comfortable with. I'll ask questions as we go through, and if anything is not feeling good, just tell me and we don't have to talk about it. But really, it's just a chance for you to share your story with us.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really glad you're doing these because it really helps to keep it open. It's happening to so many people, all these struggles, and no one ever talks about it. And I just really love that you're doing this. I've watched almost all of your shares.
Oh, thanks, girl.
Yeah.
Love your support. Well, I'm so happy you're here. I really am.
Thank you. Same. Thanks for asking me.
Mhm.
So my journey is quite similar to a lot of the others on your show, but also different in its own way. I met my husband very late in the fertility life, as so they say. So him and I didn't get married until I was 35. So, meeting someone that you want to be with, and I didn't meet him until I was 30. And, you hear the voices. When you're young, you don't really think about all that stuff. You don't think about, oh, maybe I should, think about infertility. No one in my family that I knew of, because it was never really talked about, had trouble conceiving. So I didn't really think anything of it. Met Matt, started to come in my mind. And we dated for quite a while. We were long distance dating. So it took a while for us to be in the same place. But once we were, I really quickly knew that he was the person that I wanted to be with, and started thinking about it then. Started thinking about, okay, is it he? And also, he's younger than me, so that so in my head, I was like, well, we don't have any trouble. He's 4 years younger than me. It'll be totally fine. Thinking, well, it takes two. But so we got married, but up until that point. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching, we were trying ahead of time because I had known, I always wanted a family. I knew that from a very young age. I came from a big Italian family. So I knew I wanted a lot of babies, and I knew I was getting a late start. So nothing was happening before we got married. So then after we got married, I started to talk to my doctor, had a kind of relationship. I was always regular cycle, shorter than most, but still within the normal range, but nothing was happening. Okay. And I talked to my OB. She recommended a fertility doctor. I don't even remember who it was now, because this wasn't even the doctor that we went through treatments with. He was in Austin, and did 3 IUIs, nothing. Okay. Had no luck at all. Wasn't getting pregnant. It wasn't working. They suggested IVF to me at that time. For some reason, it didn't feel right to me at that moment. Looking back, there's tons of what ifs in our journeys. We never really know if we made the right path or not. Of course. But at that point, I didn't feel like IVF was the right path for us, for no other reason other than I wanted to try other things. Adoption was always on our heart too. It's still something that's on Matt and my heart, very openly, and it's still a very fluid development. Okay. So we decided at that time to kind of go that route, to start the adoption process through the state of Texas, see kind of where that led us. So we got an agency, and we started that procedure. It's a very long procedure. You have to go to training. You need to get your house checked for fire code. There's so many paths that you have to take. But we started it. And in the process, in that meantime, I met this woman at a health fair at my job. Her name is Laura. She's an amazing acupuncturist in the area. She said to me, I can help you. I can help you, Heather. I know I can help you. Just give me 2 years. Give me 2 years. Well, type A person that I am, it's like 2 years. I can't wait 2 years.
That's way too long.
I don't have time. Time, right? Our greatest commodity, time. But in that process, I also saw her. I started seeing her. And I think it was weekly at that point, weekly acupuncture and herbal formulas. And I started eating better. I cut out like food dyes out of my diet. I worked out regularly, which was happening kind of when we were getting married too. You know, we always want to look the best in our wedding dress. So we started doing that route. And long story short, right when we were able to start accepting children into our home as part of foster system, I got pregnant. I kind of knew that I was pregnant. I don't know, it's the weirdest thing. And I'm a very spiritual person. And I really, to this day, feel like I knew when I was on the table with her needles that day that I got pregnant. I don't know what it was. I was kind of like, had this out of body experience. It's so weird to explain it, but I was like hovering over my body. I was really chill on the table with her. It was great. Wow. And I just knew, I had a feeling, and I came home and we were going to a training for the foster care, and all I wanted was Whataburger, which I don't eat. I don't eat meat. Like, I really don't eat red meat. I eat chicken and stuff like that. But so I just wanted this burger, right? And Matt's like, what is wrong with you? Whataburger? Like, what do you want Whataburger? And so we took a test and it was positive. And I went to the doctor because of my age. She did an ultrasound and the sac was empty. So as quickly as we were elated that we were pregnant, there was nothing in the sac. But it really was okay at that point because it was something. It was progress. I wasn't getting pregnant at all before.
This was your first conception?
My first conception,
okay.
Yeah. And it happened about, I think it was about 9 months from the time that I started treatment with Laura, and it took that long for the foster care stuff. So it had taken a while. Okay. And yeah, so it was our first miss. And, but I was not really sad, only because it was a step in that direction. I had gotten pregnant, which was not happening. Nice. So my OB, who I love, she just retired. It's like gut wrenching to me, but an amazing lady. She said to me, she held my hand and she was like, listen, I know you don't want to hear this right now. I know you're sad. She's like, but you need to try right now. She's like, if you want a baby, she's like, as soon as you stop bleeding, she said, try. She goes, because now your body knows that it can get pregnant and it can be pregnant, and try. So we told the adoption agency that I had gotten pregnant. So they said if we had a child in our home, we could have continued with the process. But because I was pregnant and lost the baby, they said, well, why don't you wait and see what you want to do and revisit. Okay. So they pulled us off that table. So that was a little bit of a heartbreaking thing for us, our family, because we had worked really hard at that. And I just thought that was my path. I thought that was what we were supposed to do. So I went back to Laura, my acupuncturist, and I had already started bleeding at this point. But acupuncture is a beautiful thing. If no one has ever done it, it's amazing. It is so great for the body. She actually helped my body passed the miscarriage naturally. I didn't have to take any drugs, which was wonderful. And I I did all the things, Rena. Like, I did all the things. There's a little.
Why? As you're like, I did acupuncture, herbs in my head. I'm like, yeah, check. So did I. Yeah, check. Yeah. With you, girl. You know, I'm with you. I know.
Well, in Austin, I don't know if have you heard of the Herb Bar? No. So it's this little place. Okay, there's this little place in Austin. It's an old little cottage, and it turned into this like wellness center. They have crystals and scents and candle. They have all the things, all the things. And I went into the shop after my miscarriage, and I had said, "Listen, like, what can you do? Like, what can you help me with? Do I need to chill out? Do I need a candle? Like, what? You know what?" So the woman that worked there, and I wish I remembered her name. I don't, but she took my hand and she was like, and Matt was with me. I had went after an acupuncture session because at that time, that's right where she was practicing. And she took my hand and she's like, so I'm going to give you some tips. And I was like, okay, give me some tips. She's like, walk around the store and see what speaks to you. So my husband was instantly drawn to the crystal room. I was instantly drawn to the scents, the smells. So she, and it sounds really weird and I hope this isn't too far out there, but it worked for us. She had said to me, buy red bed sheets. She said, buy red bed sheets. Okay. Don't put any blues in your bedrooms. She's like, get warm colors, colors of love, colors of passion. And she gave me like this sheet spray for the sheets. And we used that for a while. And with Matt, she gave him stones. She gave him and I both moonstones. And girl, did we charge those moonstones in the full moon for so long. But we did it. And I don't know if it was truly that or if it was just me relaxing and knowing that I could get pregnant now. I got pregnant on that miscarriage cycle with Vincent.
What?
Yeah. So, and like I said, I don't know if it was all those things or just not
combination. Your doctor said now knows what to do, and now it's
right.
Whether moonstones, bed spray, whether that was or wasn't the reason doesn't matter. Right. Goal and maybe took your mind off of the pressure of it a little bit.
Right. I
saw a medium, so I am not here to anything. And when we're going on our journeys, there is no judgment. So
no, there isn't.
We're able to find something that got you to where you needed.
Right. And right and wrong, right? So like she even said to me, dig your hands in the earth, get closer to nature. She's like, plant a garden. Like she told me all these really tips that really make sense when you think about it, but you're so far in this journey that you don't really think about things, just normal things to like either relax your mind or whether it's getting you closer to the earth. She's even mentioned like walk barefoot, like take your shoes off and walk in the earth and walk in the grass. And I don't know, it all worked. And so we have our Vincent. I got pregnant with him on our miscarriage cycle. It was a perfect pregnancy. Like I felt like I was super lucky, especially for my advanced age. He was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. It's like my struggle was before, and I felt like this is it. I'm going to be able to have my babies now. This is going to be great. I wish it was that simple. Yes, he's perfect and he's made for us, but I wanted more. And it just, again, wasn't that easy the second time around. I even started trying very early on when he was way littler than I wanted. Okay. Because by the time I had him, I was 39. Mm-hmm. Was that right? Yeah. 38. And so I knew that number. It was just always the people that go on the fertility journeys, you have that number in the back of your mind, right? It's like, okay, I know I can do it at this age, but all right, well, I've passed that age. So here comes the next but age, right? Like, so, we tried all the things at that point. Then we tried IVF. I didn't stim. So my body was like, I'm not having any type of that. It did not, my lining didn't do anything. My body was just done. The doctor said, based on, and they gave me at my age at 40. Well, there's something else in the between. I forgot. So I did get pregnant one more time.
Oh, okay.
With acupuncture again. I got pregnant one more time. I forgot that part. Got pregnant one more time. Lost that baby. And then again, did it again where I was like, okay, I lost the baby. Let's do the first thing I did the first time and try to get pregnant on that miscarriage cycle. Didn't work. At that point, Laura had left Austin and she recommended a different acupuncturist. I went and saw him. He was not, he's very well known here and he does great work, but for my body, it didn't really work. I did get pregnant again. That baby, we saw the heartbeat. So the only other time I had seen the heartbeat was with Vincent. So I thought it was a sure thing. But at 11 weeks, we lost that one as well. And then I'd never been pregnant again. And that was, I think, 2017. I'm losing track of time, but I was in my 40s
those 2 pregnancies and losses were before you did IVF, correct?
Correct. They were before I did IVF. Yes, I'm so sorry. I skipped that whole part. It's like blacking out. Yes, that was before I did IVF.
Before you. Okay, now.
Yeah.
Quickly interrupt your story. When initially IVF was suggested to you, you flat out were like, no, not
right.
This time around, I know you just touched on it, you did it. What were the difference in feelings? Or was it because you had already had some losses that you were like, now it's time to move to the next step? Like, what was difference in the IVF path from not wanting to do it to now going ahead to doing it?
Yeah, that's a great question. It was solely based on age, I think.
Okay.
I feel like I was running out of time. So that baby I got pregnant with and lost at 40 and 41.
Okay.
So at 42, I was like, I never had trouble carrying a child, or so I thought. So like once I got pregnant, except for the first one that Laura helped me, as it was bleeding, helped me to pass it naturally. The other one, I had to have a DNC. And then the one in 11 weeks, I also had to have a DNC because it wasn't passing. And I waited a long time. And it wasn't passing on its own. So the doctors thought, okay, well, your lining is amazing. Like, you're a great candidate for IVF. It's just my eggs, now that we know, weren't the best. And I passed all of my eggs early on in life. The doctors say sometimes that happens, where you just lose your eggs, lose them early.
Okay.
And apparently that's just what happened to me. And we found that out after we lost the one at 11 weeks. I gave it some time and then saw the fertility doctor. We tried to do a round of IVF. And they gave me the highest dose that they could because of my age, and like nothing stemmed. I had like maybe 3. And the doctor's like, listen, there's some options, so I don't want you to lose hope. Like, I still think you can carry a baby. How about egg donation? How about, they just gave me all these other options. And we did look at egg donation for a while, where it would be my husband's sperm and then a donor egg. Kind of like Lindsay mentioned at your last Saturday share. And, again, for us, it was really all about money at that point. Like, at what point do you take the money away from your child that is living to, have another child? It really is a struggle. It's a struggle to know, okay, well, yeah, you want another baby, but at the detriment to who, right?
But it doesn't come easily.
No, it doesn't. And it's still a fluid situation. Like, IVF didn't work. We then went on a path to, I was so blessed and so fortunate. My friends had babies. It was through IVF. They had extra embryos. I adopted their embryos in hopes to be able to carry them. So that even came to me so easily. Like, it felt like it was meant to be, because things kept coming to me easily in that way. So they gave me their embryos. I one more time, like a last ditch effort, I was like, oh, let's try to carry these. I can do it. I was, oh gosh, I'm losing track of how, 43, 44. And the doctor still thought that I could do it. But then at this point, the years that have passed was enough where my lining was like, no, like, okay, you are done. You can't do it. So we actually still have these embryos that we adopted. And now I just recently kind of made the decision to give them to someone who might be able to use them. So I contacted an adoption agency, and we're going to give those to someone who needs them, and that can carry them. So at least that they'll live on.
Okay.
But yeah, and so really it kind of happened all in progression. We don't have another baby or child yet. We are touching on, adoption still. That's still in our hearts. In fact, Matt and I were just talking about stuff last night with that. So it's definitely, I don't feel like this part of my life has passed yet. I feel like I still want to, I am a mother and will always be a mother. Even those women who lose their babies are mothers. But I still want more from this stage. I still feel like I want to give Vincent a sibling, whether, I don't know how that's going to come about, but I just feel like our story isn't finished. And I can't really describe it, but yeah, it's just been.
It's an internal drive. Like the way I describe it to Uche is it's like this motherly instinct. And I can't describe it. It's kind of like, ugh, I hate cliches, but I always use that. You know, when you're getting married, how people are like, oh, when you know, like you just know the right guy.
Yeah.
That's how I describe this feeling. As a
Yeah.
mother, you want a baby so bad. It's like this internal thing that takes
Yeah.
over you. It consumes you, and that's all you can eat, breathe, sleep, think.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you're done, like, so now that I'm in the phase that I'm done, like, I can hold a baby without like sniffing and needing it and wanting it. Like, gleefully head back to the parent rather.
Right.
Oh, babe, I need this baby.
Right.
A motherly instinct. And what I would say to you, friend, is if you still have that instinct, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Might not know how, but
right.
The way that Vincent came into your life, that things are going to happen the way they're meant to happen, right?
Right. Right.
I have a question about adoption.
Sure.
So
yeah.
Still a potential. Because you guys have gone through it years ago, do you still have to go through the process from the beginning, or can you kind of pick up where you left off?
No, you got to start all over because it's based on county. Oh. So back then we were in Hayes, and then in between. So now we're in a different county. So we would have to start all over. And it's probably changed. It was, I mean, Vincent's almost 9, so we're talking 9 years ago. So I'm sure the process has changed. But yeah, that's as soon as we were giving ourselves to the new year to kind of figure it out. And then, we built this house. That was something else that I forgot to talk about in the IVF is that, we had our embryos, and my friend offered to be a surrogate for those embryos. And we put money down on this house though. And as everyone knows in Central Texas, like the housing market is insane. And ours was a little extra, and it took like 2 years to build. Well, if you apply for a house, like a mortgage, you can't really have any debt. And this would have been a lot of debt to have this surrogate. And so I feel like that wasn't touched upon yet either. Like there's certain parts of my journey, Matt and our journey together, that I feel hasn't been exhausted. Like all its resources haven't been exhausted. So I'm not just sticking with adoption. Like I'm really trying to open my heart and open my mind to every option, whether that's finding another surrogate for these embryos, whether it's to adopt them out, which Matt and I have decided kind of to do. Like it's still a very fluid conversation. I did reach out to an agency about adopting them out, but I still in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, okay, like, what is everything? Could we go back to the egg donor route and use Matt's sperm? He's 4 years younger than me. Men do have some problems, but chances are, should be okay. In this case, I know it was me.
Yeah. Nothing like what we go through, but yeah.
That's right. So I'm really not closing my mind and my heart to anything. I really am trying to just welcome a child, not even a baby. I mean, if it's a child, then it's a child. I mean, I have an almost 8-year-old. So, a 4 or 5, 6-year-old, 7-year-old child still to me would be something that would be a welcome addition. Like if I would have had that baby, they always say, when that baby would have been born, that baby would have been a January baby. So that baby would have been like 6 or 7 by this point. So, I'm really trying to keep an open mind and heart, and just welcome anything that, comes our way as an option.
Wow. So you have the biggest heart. You absolutely.
Thank you. You're so sweet.
Okay. So you're still fluid with your journey.
Yeah.
There's talk about those embryos that you have adopted out. Is the date is the date for adopting them out solid? Like, do you and Matt, this is when we have to make our decision by, or you can keep those too? Because I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, and I was still in it, knowing that I wanted a baby, knowing that I didn't know how it was happening, but I potentially have all these options. To me, if I were to adopt those embryos out, I would be like, well, I'm closing a door and letting go of an option. Right. Do you ever have any of those feelings creep in, or it's just like, I'm ready to let someone else use these because I know I can't, or keep them around as a just in case. That sounds terrible.
No, it's not. I mean, I feel like those were given to me in such a way where it was such a beautiful gift. And it's kind of like, it's two-sided. On one side of my mind, I was like, I don't want to let that gift, go to waste or go, but I also don't want to hang on to them if a woman is in my place where I was 9 years ago and is really struggling and has no other options.
Right.
Matt's insurance changed this year, so it does cover a little bit of fertility. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, would a child that's Matt's and an egg donor again be a possibility? I still know I can't carry, but then I would have to go again that surrogate route. So it's all these things. It's like this, and people that are on the journey know, it's like I have like a book, right? That I write, okay, like these are our options. What's the money involved? Yeah, right. What's the money involved? What is the impact to our family? What's the impact to Vincent? It's really hard. It is hard to let that, and I've many a tears about those embryos because I really truly feel like I know children that have come from them. They're beautiful and they look a lot like Vincent to me, which is really hard for me to let go. They were just given to me in such a beautiful manner that I don't want to let them go to waste, whatever waste that is, whether it's to me not use them, whether it's to not give them away, whether it's, God forbid, have to, destroy them. Right now, the adoption agency, there is no time limit to answer your question. So it's more along the lines when they have someone who needs them. So I had paid the fee to store them. So technically they're still mine. And I have the ultimate decision and choice. So if they say to me in 2 months, we have this family, do you want to look at them, see if you want these embryos to go to them? I can say no and then pass, or I can say, yes, you know what, this family would be a great option for these embryos. Let's do that. So it's more of a situation like that. So the agency's been great.
Okay. In my head, I was thinking you had to give them up and these embryos would be sitting at the agency waiting for a family. So
no,
you still have a lot of control over that, which
right.
For us type A personalities is really great to have control, especially in a situation and a journey where we actually don't have much control.
So true, Raina.
That made my heart a little happier hearing that you still have some control.
I do. And they've been great. Like they've been with me. This is an agency that we were trying to go through when we were adopting from private adoption. That was one of our paths too. But I just, my age was always a hindrance. And it's so hard to say that out loud, but it's true that both age and weight is very much a hindrance for adoption, whether you do local adoption, whether you do out of country adoption. Like there's very few countries that will adopt to someone who is overweight, which is horrible, but it's true. And also with age. So like even the foster care system, and it used to be back when we were doing it, that like I technically couldn't get an infant now because I'm of a certain age. So they really try, because of life expectancy of the parent, to put an infant with you that, they can't control what happens to somebody, but they try to do it as best as they can as far as, yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know there were weight stipulations on.
Oh, yeah.
Did they give you a reason? Like, I guess.
Health-wise, I think. Yeah, health-wise. So like we were even looking at like countries like India and there's, not Kenya, but there's other countries that adopt out. China's super strict. Like you have to have like 0% body fat to adopt for China. Yeah, it's crazy. At least that's what that agency told me. Like they could be way off base, but I don't think so. It's not something that I've heard only one time.
To me, I've never.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that came into the path where we thought there was a good path, and then we're like, oh, this kind of leads us out. But it's okay. Like if Vincent's here, he's meant to be here. I always think that baby I lost or I wouldn't have Vincent. And then I do still hope that there's another one in our future. I just don't know what that looks like.
Right.
But
our half an hour went real quick.
Oh, is it gone? Oh my gosh.
I know it went super fast, but just to leave a thought. So you're still in your journey. Like what you just said, you have Vincent, he's where he's supposed to be. He came with But you have this inner feeling and inner
Oh, I do.
You're not done yet and your family is not complete. And I can relate to that so much. And I'm sure there are lots of viewers who can relate to that too. What advice or motivation or words do you have for those who are still on their journey seeking answers or directions? How do you keep your hope going? How do you come up with your next move when it seems like you go here and then another brick wall is thrown?
No.
What your journey going, Heather?
I would just say to them to hang on to the feeling in your heart. Don't give up. You know, you don't want to have regret. So just keep trying. Do everything. Like if it's within your power, go for it. And just hang to it. You know, find joy in the little things. I know it's so hard. I have so many friends going through it right now. But just really just keep going. If it's what you want, exhaust every avenue and just do it. I mean, I'm no spring chicken anymore, you know, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't care if I'm 50 years old and have a 4-year-old. I don't care. You know, it's like, it's our journey. It's my husband's journey. It's Vincent's journey. It's like, you know, you have to just look at the big picture and just trudge on and just keep going.
I love that. I'm sorry, I have a thought in my head. So that was going to be our close, but now I have another question for you.
It's okay. Go for it. I'm good. I feel like I talked. I was so focused on like, I'm watching this little screen. I was like, okay. And I just get really, really flabbergasted when I'm face to face like this. So hopefully it's open okay.
Fabulous job. I never would know.
Thank you.
So, okay, this is probably a stupid question. I guess no kids are stupid. You're a kindergarten. So, okay, with the adoption, I'm still holding on to this age and weight thing.
Yeah. Private now.
Newborns only? Like, if you adopt, you just said, a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, would age come into play as much? Do you know what I mean?
You know, I don't know if there's official rules around that, but I think unspoken. I mean, I know that there are official rules around an infant, but they're so across the board. It's like, I even think back in the day, like if you would adopt a sibling group, that rule doesn't apply, right? So if there was like a 4-year-old and then a newborn, their goal is to keep the kids together. That trumps you being 46, right? So I feel like maybe they're not, while some are official rules, maybe some are a little more, you know, more gray area. Okay. But then, you know, I do think that while they're looking at your file and looking at your profile, that they do take age into consideration greatly. Whether or not they say it or don't, I feel like they do anyway. Okay. Through the state anyway. The private adoption, we did that for a very short time. We quickly realized that was not our path for private adoption. So we, aside from looking at other countries, we didn't really pursue that further. Okay. We just hit those roadblocks with my age and my weight, primarily my weight. It goes by body, like BMI. So it's like if you have a BMI that's over normal, then okay, you have to have this BMI to adopt from this country. So that's how they do it for private adoption out of state. Isn't that crazy?
To me, I'm gonna have to mull this over.
Yeah, look it up. I bet you can easily find it on Google. Yeah, just search like BMI requirements for private adoption. I bet it comes up. Yeah, it was really crazy. I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's like it's not like I'm 90 and want to adopt, you know?
It is ridiculous because I know you. I know your family. We love you all with all of our hearts.
Aw, same.
For that to be an initial thing that they look out, and let's be honest, it's probably on a piece of paper. They haven't even met. I just feel it's very judgy right off the bat.
Oh, yeah.
You guys could provide a beautiful home for a kid who needs
it.
So I'm going to look more into this.
You should. Yeah. It's really crazy. When we were going through it, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like this is ridiculous. But it is what it is.
Well, Heather, I just wanted to thank you again for being here. As I said,
thank you.
Family so much, and we're so happy.
Thanks.
Got the chance to get to know you, and the boys are playing together again this year. We'll get to hang out
excited.
more. And I am here, as you know, to support you on your journey, however.
Thank you.
We love you. And
thanks.
Saturday Shares, just so everybody knows, is going to take a 2-week hiatus. We are traveling to Canada. So we will be back. July 23rd is the next one. And I will keep everybody in tune with that. Have a great Saturday.
Thanks, Rena.